Hello and welcome to Olivia English Hub. Learn English naturally, speak confidently, and grow every day. Let's begin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Olivia, and if this is your first time here, I make videos to help you speak English more naturally, more confidently, and without that constant fear of making mistakes. Today, we're going to talk about something that almost every single English learner does wrong. And I mean almost everyone, even people who've been studying for years. Let me ask you something first. Have you ever been in a conversation and you wanted to say something like, "Can you say me the answer?" And then there was this tiny pause. Like something felt off, but you couldn't figure out what. Or maybe you've said, "I want to talk English very well." And a native speaker gave you this confused little smile. Not because they didn't understand you, but because something just sounded slightly wrong. If this has happened to you, I want you to know this is completely normal. This is one of the most common mistakes in the entire English language, and it happens because in many languages, one single word covers multiple meanings. But in English, we have 4 different words: say, tell, speak, and talk. And each one has its own specific job. They look similar. They even feel similar when you're translating in your head. But native speakers use them in very different situations, almost without even thinking about it. And here's the tricky part. Even if your grammar is perfect, even if your vocabulary is advanced, using the wrong one of these 4 words can instantly make your English sound unnatural. It's one of those small details that native speakers notice immediately, even if they can't always explain why something sounds off. It's not about being wrong technically. It's about sounding natural. So today, I want to ask you a question. What if you never had to guess again? What if, every single time you opened your mouth, you instantly knew whether to use say, tell, speak, or talk? Without hesitating, without translating, without that little moment of doubt. That's exactly what we're going to fix today. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the real difference between these 4 words. Not through boring grammar rules, but through simple, clear examples you can actually remember and use in real conversations. I'm going to break this down into 2 easy comparisons: say versus tell, and speak versus talk. And for each one, I'll give you a simple trick, a real-life example, and a quick practice question so you can test yourself right away. This is one of those videos where, once you understand it, you will never forget it. It's like a light switch. Before, it's confusing, and after, it just clicks. You'll start noticing these words everywhere. In movies, in conversations, in songs, and instead of feeling confused, you'll feel confident because you'll finally understand what's actually happening. So, if you're ready, stay with me until the end, because I promise you, this is going to change the way you speak English forever. Let's get started. Let's start with the first pair, say and tell. These 2 words confuse almost everyone because in translation they often become the exact same word. But in English they work very differently. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Say focuses on the words themselves. Tell focuses on the person who is receiving the information. That's it. That's the whole secret. When we use say, we're usually talking about the exact words that came out of someone's mouth. For example, she said hello. Notice? We're not mentioning who she said it to directly after the verb. We're focusing on the words hello. Now compare that to tell. When we use tell, we almost always mention the person. For example, she told me a secret. Here, the focus is on me, the person receiving the information. You can't say she said me a secret. That sounds wrong to a native speaker's ear because say doesn't usually take a direct person right after it like that. Let's look at a few more examples so this really sinks in. He said he was tired. Focus on his words. He told his mother he was tired. Focus on his mother, the person receiving the message. Here's a trick that will help you remember this forever. If you can add a person's name or me/him/her right after the verb, use tell. If you're focusing on the exact words, use say. Let's practice. Fill in the blank. He, the truth to the police. What do you think? If you said told, perfect, because we're focusing on who received the information. The police. One more. I'll be there at 6 p.m. If you said, excellent, because we're quoting her exact words. See how that works? Once you understand this one rule, words versus person, this mistake disappears completely. And if you got both of those right, you're already ahead of most intermediate English learners, because this is genuinely one of the trickiest pairs in the entire language. Now let's move to our second pair. Speak and talk. These two are a little different from say and tell, but just as important and just as commonly confused. Here's the core idea. Speak is usually more formal, and it's often used when we're talking about a language, giving a speech, or communicating in a more one-directional way. Talk is more casual, and it usually involves a back-and-forth conversation between two or more people. Let's look at speak first. We say, I speak English, not I talk English. Why? Because when we're referring to a language, English almost always uses speak. Same with formal situations. The president will speak at the conference, or can I speak with the manager, please? These situations feel more formal, more one-directional, more structured. Now, let's look at talk. We use this word when we're describing a natural, casual conversation. For example, we talked for 2 hours last night. Or, let's talk about our weekend plans. This feels relaxed, back and forth, friendly, like two people simply chatting. Here's a simple way to remember the difference. If it feels like a formal announcement, a language, or a one-way communication, use speak. If it feels like a relaxed, natural conversation between people, use talk. Let's test this. Fill in the blank. Can you blank Spanish? If you said speak, that's correct, because we're referring to a language. One more. We blank about the movie after it ended. If you said talked, perfect, because this is a casual, natural conversation between friends. Notice something interesting. You can talk to someone casually, but you speak a language, or you speak formally to an audience. Once this distinction clicks in your mind, you'll start using these words correctly without even thinking about it. Okay? Let's quickly review everything we just learned, because repetition is what makes this stick in your long-term memory. Say focuses on the exact words someone used. Tell focuses on the person receiving the information. If you can add a person's name right after the verb, use tell. If you're quoting or focusing on the words themselves, use say. Then we have speak and talk. Speak is more formal, used for languages, speeches, and one-directional communication. Talk is casual, used for natural, relaxed conversations between people. These might seem like small differences, but I want you to understand something important. It's exactly these small differences that separate someone who knows English from someone who speaks English naturally. Grammar books can teach you rules, but real fluency comes from understanding these subtle patterns, the ones native speakers use automatically without even thinking. And here's the beautiful part. Now that you understand this, you're going to start noticing it everywhere. in movies, in songs, in conversations with native speakers. You'll hear say, tell, speak, and talk, and instead of feeling confused, you'll feel this quiet confidence, because you'll know exactly why each word is being used. This is what real progress in English looks like. It's not about memorizing hundreds of rules. It's about understanding small, powerful patterns like this one at a time, until speaking naturally becomes automatic. If this video helped you, please do 3 things for me. First, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow and reach more learners just like you. Second, subscribe if you haven't already, because I post videos just like this every single week, helping you sound more natural and more confident in English. And third, share this video with a friend who's learning English too, because learning together always makes it easier. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me honestly, which one did you use to mix up? Was it say and tell? Or was it speak and talk? Or maybe even both? Let me know, because I read every single comment, and I might even make a follow-up video based on what you tell me. Thank you so much for watching, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.